Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Southern Woods and Waters. Appreciate all of you tuning in with us tonight. We've got another great show for you. I'm joined tonight in studio by my good buddy Anthony Landreth and, of course, Dayton Blair down here with me as always. And tonight we're going to be talking about a variety of different things, guys. It's just our temperatures, hopefully here soon, are fixing to be changing, but it's getting that time of year. Guys, it's fall. I mean, as far as for deer hunters, for crappie fishermen, for sauger fishermen, bass, we talked about. I mean, point is, it's just a great time of year to get out and enjoy the outdoors. Period. So, you know, we're gonna be taking you guys along on a couple great hunts tonight. We got our buddy Duck Madera out on one of your places, Anthony, and he had a great weekend. As a matter of fact, you're going to see a couple of different hunts there, and that's going to be out of West Tennessee. We're going to switch gears later on and go over to Middle Tennessee and go on my son's first ever hunt. So that was just this past week. Had a great time. Juvenile weekend, we always talk up Juvenile weekend. It's our favorite every year, and this year didn't disappoint. So we're looking forward to that. In the fishing world, guys, I'll kick it off with that. Now, I was telling you earlier, Dayton, the last few days, I kind of felt the depth, the water temperature and all that was getting about right. I thought I'd start checking some of my creek spots, you know, and I call both you guys all the time. Hey, I'm fixing to go check this creek, and we'll go check this creek. Well, you bank fishermen, crappie fishermen,
it's here almost.
Get your jigs tied on. It's coming. I've started having some decent, you know, stops at different spots where this morning I had a spot. I had several shorts. You know, I had a couple keepers mixed in, but several short, and that was Old Hickory. Had several on Priest the other day. You know, again, a lot of short fish, but they're getting in there. They're starting to get in those depths.
It ain't as hot.
It's not
starting to work around, feed a little more.
It is, and most of those fish 5 to 6 foot of water.
Exactly,
I mean, almost exactly. Is that what you've been seeing? 5 to 6 foot, man. That's where it's been.
Catch them on the bank in certain lakes. If I don't want to put a boat in, water is so low at home. Some places you can't even get a boat in anymore.
Man, I hear you guys have had all kinds of low water issues on the Mississippi, the Hatchie, anywhere up and down through there.
Lots of people tearing their whole axles out.
You
know. I mean, once they fall off the ramp, that's it. If you don't have some buddies to wade out in the water, if you can wade out there enough to pick it up,
it's mud and
then you're done. That's right.
It is. Have y'all seen where those people are walking out in the Mississippi River now, looking at all these structures and things that have never been seen before?
They found several ships and stuff.
And all kinds of stuff.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, I hate to see the water level that low, but it is pretty amazing some of the things that people have been able to go in there and look around and see. But that water's down quite a bit, you know. And our local waters, you know, everywhere I've been, we're not at Winter Pool or anything, but they've come down a little bit. Old Hickory and Priest have both come down a little bit.
I think they're holding it, not holding it, but just not sucking the bottom out of it at one time. You know, there's a lot of drinking water comes out of our lakes now, like Priest. You take Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, man, 20 years ago, you might have had 300,000 people. Now, how many you got? How many businesses? Who's getting what, where? I mean,
that's right. So they're holding that water a little harder, and we do have a chance of rain coming in this weekend. So, you know, maybe you see a little water moved after that, depending on how much of that we get. But
they're calling for about an inch for us. I don't think it's much as it moves eastward. I don't think it's as much.
We need 30 feet of rain. Every little old pond that I used to fish or any little thing you go by is dry as a bone.
My lake hasn't been this. Well, I bought it in '91. It has never been this dry. Never.
Well, hopefully we'll get some relief with that, you know, with some rain coming in here and some better temperatures and things like that coming up. I'm hoping we can get a little bit lower temperatures too, you know, get a little bit more feeling like fall. But, you know, the water temperatures are doing about what they would normally be doing. You would think with it being warmer they wouldn't be dropping, but they're dropping pretty good. And those fish are moving up in pretty well. I expect the crappie bite to get better and better over the next few weeks, especially, again, for the bank fishermen, for you guys that are beating the banks, getting up and down through there like we do a lot, and like Terry likes to do a lot. It's that time of year again. It's kind of like spring all over for just a little while. You know, you get some time to get in there and get some good fish and get a good mix of them.
Those 3 nights we had below freezing really dropped those. I mean, I bet it dropped them 12 degrees.
It did, and it can't recover. You know, the water can't just recover and heat back up as quick as it can drop.
You know, water can cool off real quick, but it takes a lot to warm it back up.
It does. So
and muddy water warms up quicker than clear water. Because the minerals in the water draw.
See, look at all kinds of scientific information there.
Well, plus, too, that muddy water, you know, the light can't seep down through that, so it's going to warm up when it's touching. So that's why, you know, it can't warm up that down deeper.
Right. So after the first of the year, I always fish on north bank because your south warm winds always hit the north bank.
It's the northeast bank is the best one.
And those big rocks, the sun's hitting those rocks. When them waves crash up on that rock, it actually warms that water up.
Sure
That's
does.
why you catch them fish in that much water. They're up there just sitting there.
You mean you ain't got to be out in 60 foot of water?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
You can't catch fish shallow when it's cold like that. You can't do that.
Yeah. But it's the northeast part. I'm telling you, that's where I always go to. Most people, you know, you tell them the northeast part of a lake or a pond, and that don't seem right to them because it's north. They're thinking it ought to be south. It's just the opposite.
Yeah.
That south wind hitting the banks, pushing the bait up, warming that bank up quicker, and your bait fish move up. And then, of course, your crawdads might come out just a little bit sooner after that.
And that makes all the difference in the world.
It sure does.
Well, guys, let's go over and do this week's wild game forecast. This week's wild game forecast has been sponsored by our friends over at Wilson Bank and Trust. Y'all can stop in and see them at one of over 30 Tennessee locations. Be sure to stop in and tell them thank you for all they do for us here at the show. All right, guys, well, we kind of hit on it a little bit, but we got some rain coming in, and we're kind of settled into a fairly warm pattern right now. I mean, we're not going to see a big drop out in temperature. Looks like kind of over the weekend it's going to get into the 60s and just kind of stay there. Yeah. So on the deer hunting side, the way you have to look at that is, and I was talking to Randall about this earlier, I mean, it's a bummer, it's warm, it's going to be windy, but it's still going to be November the 5th.
That's right.
And no matter how you look at it,
they're doing it.
November is the most magical month, you know, there is. So you just got to keep the faith and go in there and do the best you can. You better carry an umbrella with you. Take some rain gear.
Take your tools, like
take
your
your
grunt
tools.
call and your rattle bags.
If you're going to use your calls, your scents, your things like that, this is the time to be getting them out and getting them going. But, you know, again, not the best weekend weather-wise for that, but I don't, it ain't going to keep me out of the way. But it ain't going to keep Anthony out of the woods either, I guarantee you. But,
you know, a lot of the busts
just got to hang in there.
You know, they're busted up already.
Yeah.
And another sign that I'm seeing now that I normally don't see until really January is when you start seeing deer in people's yards. Because part of the state, different places, the acorn crop is just totally different from none to bumper.
Yeah, right.
And at home, I've seen more deer in people's yard. Matter of fact, I saw a sick deer Tuesday standing in somebody's yard, and I told Bubba we started to go back to take care of it, but you know, normally a landowner, the homeowner will call, because I say landowner, most of the time they're in yards, but more deer in yards eating acorns right now at home, and I mean 2 months early. Yeah. So that tells you if it gets cold, those deer they're going to have to move to find food.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some eating acorns off a concrete driveway. It's a lot easier,
that's right.
A lot easier to pick them off there than it is out in the woods.
People say, where'd the deer go? Find the acorns.
And we got pear trees right there at the house at the corner of the driveway, and you can bet all night long. You can. They just come through there just eating pear after pear after pear.
So we didn't really have any pears this year.
Wow, man, we got some huge ones.
Persimmons was, you know, real low. Acorns is real bad.
Well, guys, I want to remind y'all to follow us on Facebook. Keep up with us there. As we go through this opening weekend, we'll let y'all know how we're doing. Also, find us over on YouTube if you can. Check us out at Southern Woods and Waters. Give us a subscribe. We'll be right back here in just a minute with this week's Pictures of the Week and some more Southern Woods and Waters.